You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Second straight Utah Pac-12 Championship.
Well, deja vu there. What a night that was. Everything coming up roses for the Utes this weekend. This is your home for football. Bowl invitations are out. Where are the Cougars and Aggies going? And who's the Utes opponent in Pasadena?
Yeah, we also have the best of another wild Sunday in the NFL. There's a new #1 team in the AFC, and Tyler Huntley saves the day for the Ravens. A big day for locals in the NFL on the way.
Yeah, well, let's get to those bowl game invitations. We knew the 8th-ranked Utes were going to the Rose Bowl, but who would they play?
Well, traditionally, it's a matchup between Pac-12 and Big Ten, but which Big Ten team? Michigan and Ohio State, both picked by the committee to participate in the college football playoff. So the Big Ten will be represented in the Rose Bowl by the 11th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State comes into the game with a 10-2 record. Penn State's only 2 losses this season came against those 2 playoff teams, a 41-17 loss to Michigan and a 44-31 loss to Ohio State. This will be the first time in history that Utah's facing Penn State in football. It's Penn State's 5th trip to the Rose Bowl. Both coaches told us today that they look forward to this first-ever matchup on the most historical stage in college football.
I didn't realize that it was the first time that the two teams will have ever played each other. I'm just excited. It's a storied program, a lot of tradition, a lot of history, ton of success through the years. And we're relatively new on the scene, compared to what they've got going and what they've had historically. And so we're excited to play and excited for the challenge.
Obviously, you look at the University of Utah and the success that they've had under Kyle's leadership. To me, it was exciting. And then after just watching them play here recently, tough, hard-nosed, disciplined, gritty team, that finds ways to win, all different ways. And, got a ton of respect for what they do and how they do it.
Let's bring Sly in now to get your early thoughts on this opportunity that the Utes have. Back-to-back Rose Bowls. That's thrilling in and of itself. But now the Utes get to play Penn State, a team they've never played before.
Yeah, I spent some time training in Eastern Pennsylvania while I played for the Steelers, and I know a little bit about Penn State. They are a storied franchise, or institution that their fan base is huge. Happy Valley out there in Pennsylvania is crazy. So for me, my memory is that this is a tough, hard-nosed, run-the-football type of place, and it's just like Utah. So I'm thinking another epic Rose Bowl matchup coming in January.
But this also looks like an opponent that the Utes should beat. In my opinion, I think they should be the favorite team.
I don't know, man. I got to study the tape. I know they got a really established senior quarterback who has had some tremendous years and 2 great freshman running backs. A 1-2 combo punch on there. So that's a steady offense, and they got a traditional defense, right? They play great defense over there at Penn State. So we'll see if it's a guaranteed win. But the way the Utes are rolling right now, I don't think anybody in the country wants to see us.
Well, that's certainly the case. For the next 2 weeks, you'll be breaking down this matchup between Utah and Penn State. Can't wait for that. All right, let's move on to BYU. The final season of independence will conclude in the land of enchantment. The Cougars have been selected to play in the New Mexico Bowl on December 17th. Their opponent, the SMU Mustangs. SMU comes into the game with a 7-5 overall record. One of those losses, an 8-point loss to TCU, who's in the college football playoff. This is BYU's second appearance in the New Mexico Bowl. They last played in the game in 2010, a 52-24 win over Utah.
How about the Aggies? Utah State's going bowling. They've accepted an invitation to play at the First Responders Bowl in Dallas. They will take on the 6-6 Memphis Tigers from the American Conference. These two teams have played each other 7 times in history, but this is actually their first meeting since 1977. This will be the Aggies' 15th all-time bowl appearance.
Well, excited to get the news to be going to Dallas and spending Christmas there. We'll be in Dallas on Christmas Day, getting ready for a game on the 27th. Love the matchup against Memphis. Really good football team. Familiar with those guys. A lot of positives about this particular game for us. Mainly just the opportunity itself to be bowl eligible 2 years in a row, to add to just a wonderful bowl history here at Utah State in general over the last 10, 15 years, and to possibly get win number 7.
I told you. Yeah.
That's right. With another Utah victory party in Las Vegas, we look back on how they got it done against USC. Stevenson Sylvester will take us on a deep dive in the film. Just how dominant was that defense against the Trojans? It's coming up when KSL Sports Live continues.
You're watching KSL Sports Live.
All right. When Utah lost to Oregon and Eugene just 15 days ago, it seemed any hope of repeating as Pac-12 champions was dead. Well, we were all mistaken. What has happened since played out like a dream for the Utes.
Yeah, USC was the team with all the hype. They had the Heisman frontrunner, a college football playoff spot to claim, but the better team is the team headed to Pasadena. Here's another look at how the Utes got back-to-back championships in Vegas.
His confidence is at a level where it's almost like he's playing with an arrogance about him that he just is like, I'm going to make the play regardless. Utah doesn't have the emotion. They're not playing at Salt Lake. USC is a better version of what they were in the middle of the year, and I'm going to take USC in this game.
9 yards on that throw. This one for just a couple, and Washington pays it off on 4th down. Caleb Williams leisurely throws it for a touchdown. Rolling Brown. It's Jackson. And he snaps the end zone. A touchdown. Rising steps up and throws to the end zone, and Dixon is in. Touchdown. 3rd and 19. Rising.
Okay, just say you're not ready. Okay, coming in heavy. Okay, they ain't in shape, I'm petty. Okay, W-O-E, I'm ready. Okay, focus, I'm ready. Okay, just say you're not ready. They wanna fight me in and try to feed them food. Thinking I hide behind the shades, I see right through it. You ain't stand up for your word, then you too fool. They're not.
It's a run for Jackson. Jaquindon Jackson. He's free. And he broke another tackle. Doesn't just say exactly what happened.
I told you. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, back to back, baby. Back to back. Yeah, baby. Let's go.
Cam Rising in Utah have won the Pac-12 for the second.
Wow, that was something else. What a night for the Utes. Sly, you were there. You're on the sidelines, and as a former player, I have to ask you, what was it like for you to experience this and see where this program has come since the days when you guys were doing it?
Man, the only thing missing was me putting on the pads. I swear, the atmosphere was amazing. Per usual, Utah traveled great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we had so many fans in that stadium, and it made all the difference in the world. It was awesome. The guys felt it from the jump. You know, it was an emotional matchup, but it was such a pleasure to be there.
All right, nerve-wracking early. USC got off to a great start. What changed in this game? What was the difference, especially on offense for Utah?
For me, it was how we ended that first half. You know, we ended that first half with the game management. It's something Coach Whittingham preaches each and every year, each and every week. It's situational football. How we ended that first half, getting the score with Jalen Dixon there, helped propel us into the second half. And in that second half, we made a ton of big plays. This offense went off, starting with Money Parks over the middle, getting all the way to breaking tackles, getting all the way to the end zone. These guys put up some amazing numbers, outscoring USC from the second quarter to the end of the game, 44-7. It was just a tremendous display of offense throughout the entire second half.
Obviously, USC has a lot of takeaways. It looked like they used that against them in this game, especially in those plays like that. So,
yeah, on the other side of the ball, though, you know, they smelled blood in the water there. Coach Witt even said after the game, once they knew that they had banged up Caleb, they pinned the ears back, they got after him. How were the Utes able to I guess, change the way Caleb Williams was able to play the game and be so dominant?
It was a confidence. You know, these guys started the game. You know, Caleb Williams is a talent, man. He was throwing the ball all over, running a little bit. But as you said, once we found out the injury, you know, no holds back. We came after him. We have the defensive backfield to cover their amazing receivers and have a lot of coverage sacks. And since he was immobile, it was a great opportunity for this defense to get to him. And Gabe Reed, Connor O'Toole, Mo Diabate, Simonte Peppa, they really got after it as they have been all season.
7 sacks. Yeah. Caleb Williams, who will likely win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
The Utes will always have that against one of the best players in college football. We look forward to breaking down this Penn State-Utah Rose Bowl in the coming weeks. Sly, thank you. We'll see you next week.
How about that deep one? Oh, how about that fake? Madsen going to his left and one. Oh! This is that win that gets you going. And for Utah, what a night.
Utah football team wasn't the only Utah team to beat the number 4 team in the country this week. The men's basketball team beat them to the punch on Thursday, taking down number 4 Arizona at the Huntsman Center. The luster of that win wouldn't be the same, though, if they couldn't take care of business Sunday on the road, on the Palouse. The Runnin' Utes' first Pac-12 road game of the season against Washington State. Let's go to the final seconds. Utes in trouble with down 3 with 10 seconds left, but Marco Anthony gets the and one. He'd make the free throw and tie the game at 59. Now the Utes need a stop to force overtime. And they get it. So we get 5 minutes of free basketball. Utah opened OT with a 6-0 run. Gabe Madsen with 3 of his 11 points. Washington State would rally to tie it. Raleigh Worcester fouled with 25 seconds left. Makes both free throws to give Utah a 2-point lead. He led the team with 19. Now Washington State gets the last shot. 2 chances to tie it. And they come up short. The Runnin' Utes off to a 2-0 start in Pac-12 play. Now 7-2. On the season. Reason to celebrate.
Maybe we've underestimated them. Well, how about the Aggies trying to stay undefeated on the road against the 7-1 San Francisco Dons? Former UMBC retriever Dan Ocken doing things Coach Ryan Odom's familiar with. Throwing down there for the 15-point lead. Taylor Funk had 13 points. This 3 putting Utah State up by 18 in the second half. Max Shulga, look at that. Baseline for the reverse and the foul. The Aggies would build a 22-point lead. Shulga finished with 16. But the Dons go on a 17-2 run. Khalil Shabazz, that 3 cuts the lead to 7, 66-59. That's as close as it would get, though. Ocken with another dunk. He finished the game with a game-high 19, all off the bench. Utah State 7-0 now with an 82-64 win.
They might be an NCAA tournament team this year. There was breaking news Saturday night that sent shockwaves throughout the college football world. Prime time is coming to the Pac-12. The Colorado Buffaloes have hired football legend Deion Sanders to revive their struggling football program. He's coached at FCS Jackson State since 2020 and just led the Tigers to a 12-0 record this season and 27-5 overall. His charisma and persona should inject some much-needed excitement into a program that has underachieved for 2 decades.
And now that I've gotten here and I see it, and I understand it, Rick, and I can grasp it, and I can touch it, and I can feel it, and I can taste it, I truly understand what you want. All you want is an opportunity to win, to compete, to dominate, to be amongst the elite, to be amongst the best. And darn it, I'm going to give you that.
I guess you could say he won the press conference.
No kidding.
Pretty cool. All right, we'll see now. He's going to come to Salt Lake City next year.
Can't wait for that.
That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, it's time now for Hometown Heroes, brought to you each week by Brent Brown Toyota. Plenty of Hometown Heroes on the Utes roster, including grad transfer defensive end Gabe Reed.
Yeah, he's had such a huge impact since coming home from Stanford, including Friday's Pac-12 Championship game. He was outstanding. Reed was a menace for the Trojans' offensive line and
Gabe Reed, great athlete. All right, we have to take another break. More locals in the NFL on the way.
And we turn back the clock just a bit to the last bowl matchup between BYU and SMU. We also go back to Vegas for more on the Pac-12 Championship game. Just how good was the defense and Cam Rising's performance against USC? Great stuff. All right, BYU's matchup against SMU in the upcoming New Mexico Bowl will be just the fourth in program history between the two schools. The first is one BYU fans, of course, will never forget. The Miracle Bowl in 1980, Jim McMahon to Clay Brown for the Hail Mary win. But for this week's archive dive, we take you back to the other two matchups. In the old Super WAC days, the first in the 14-1 1996 season, BYU gave up a first-quarter field goal and then scored 31 straight. Steve Sarkisian passed for 358 yards and a score, 111 yards to Keo Kealo-Louie, and Ronnie Jenkins had 2 touchdown runs in the win. Then in 1997, a much closer contest, a game that went to overtime, tied at 13 when Brian McKenzie scored the game-winning touchdown to cap his 104-yard day in a 1916 win.
I told you. Hey, you asked me why I came to Utah. This is why I came to Utah. Let's go! Hey! To back. USC! What happened?
What did happen? Back to Vegas in the Pac-12 Championship. The Utes defended their title Friday night, and it comes as no surprise that their defense played a major role in that repeat.
Yeah, the defense was so good that they held USC to just 1 yard of total offense in the third quarter, allowing the offense to pull away from there.
Yeah, with Caleb Williams not at 100%, the Utah defense pinned their ears back and went after the USC quarterback and likely Heisman Trophy winner. The Utes recorded 7 sacks. Gabe Reed and Mo Diabate led the way with 2 each. As a team, Utah had 11 tackles for loss, a team high for a single game this season. And it comes in this moment. Incredible. R.J. Hubert tied for the team lead with 9 tackles while also recording his 29-yard interception and return that helped seal the win.
We never panicked. It was just a situation where I was more disappointed with the missed tackles. You know, the tackling wasn't real sharp at the beginning of the game, and we knew that, you know, those few assignment errors that we made early could be corrected and were corrected. But I, you know, felt if we didn't start tackling well, then nothing else was going to matter. And so that was really the biggest turnaround was the way we tackled, and then the way we turned up the heat on the quarterback with the pass rush. And that really was the difference in the fourth quarter, was our fourth quarter pass rush. That's how you put a game away.
Cam Rising played one of his best games of the season and earned him the Pac-12 Championship Game MVP award. Rising finished the game completing 22 of his 34 pass attempts for 310 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. His best game since he last beat USC. He led the Utes to a 30-point second half that included a 57-yard touchdown pass to Money Parks and that 60-yard touchdown pass to Thomas Yasmin.
Talked about imposing our will tonight, and that's really what we just wanted to go out and do. And yeah, just throwing those guys the ball. They're going to break the tackle, and along with JJ and Makai taking the load right there, running it. And yeah, just did a great job breaking tackles and taking advantage of those missed opportunities that they had.
Cam Rising was outstanding. Obviously, the player of the game, the MVP, and well deserved. He's our leader. And as Cam goes, so goes the offense. And he was on target tonight.
Utah Jazz player Malik Beasley giving back to the community what he and the Jazz did to help those in need this week. Next.
You know, it's that time of the year where a lot of us take advantage of the opportunities that we're given to help others, give back to the community or others in need during the holidays.
Yeah, there are many that need help this time of year, and the Utah Jazz are part of that effort. Thanks to a generous donation from America First Credit Union, approximately 4,200 families received dinner kits. Malik Beasley among those making this happen at the Bountiful Food Pantry, which distributes 2.3 million pounds of food annually.
I've been in situations before, like when I lived in Detroit, where we didn't know what we were going to eat. And for this to have this moment and to be able to help back is a pretty good moment. A lot is going on in the last couple of years, community-wise and, you know, economic-wise. So we're just trying to get out there and make the best out of everybody's lives. whether you're my teammate or somebody who watches us from the stands. You know, everyone support everyone. You know, as a Utah community, Salt Lake City community, we should do that. I think every city should do that, and but especially here, as it's so cold, and you gotta stay warm and stick together.
Speaking of the Jazz, they got a game Wednesday against the Warriors here at home, and guess who's coming to town on Friday? Rudy Gobert.
Rudy's back.
For the first time on Friday.
No tripping, Rudy. Hey, you know what? Coach Witt said he's not cutting his hair until the end of the Rose Bowl.
Nor should he.
He says it's good luck. Do we need to grow our hair out too?
Oh, maybe so. I'm already halfway there, so.
Let's go.
No haircut December?